All right, just to start off, I mean, what a game, and that's what this game's supposed to be. Energy, passion, incredible atmosphere to all our fans. I mean, just wow. I mean, that was an unbelievable environment to be a part of a college football game. To our players, I mean, the heart, the effort, the physicality, the toughness. The game was back and forth. We made a lot of mistakes tonight, especially there in the first half. But I'm just so proud of how our guys responded, and we talk about that response all the time, and that's something that it has to show up. And it's one thing in these last 4 weeks where we've responded really well to success. Tonight we had to respond to adversity, and there were some mistakes that we had, some things that we gave up, but guys continued to believe. And I thought the third quarter was remarkable. Just seeing the guys, the way that they came out and they fought, executed at a high level, was such a big part in the game. Obviously they made their run, they're at the end, but ultimately we did all the things that were necessary to finish that game, one score better. And so many people I can recognize. I mean, Jordan Travis was remarkable. I mean, wow, just the way that he played, the things that he was able to do, throwing the football, obviously with his feet. The offensive line was able to create some seams. Running backs ran really hard. Made plays when we needed to make plays. It wasn't always the cleanest thing when we were throwing and catching, but there at the end, we made the plays that we needed. And just so proud of this football team. Defensively, thought they battled. I mean, it's a talented offense that we faced, and it's one that had a lot of explosiveness. I think the quarterback did a really nice job, but we were able to slow it down a little bit there, in the second half. But what a great college football game, and to be able to finish tonight, 2-0 here in the state, that's big. And those two games, you guys are around. This program, you know how important it is, and we don't sell it short. I mean, it's critical for us to go and play well in these games and to go win these games, and to be able to finish up as the state champs. I mean, I'm so proud of our guys to be able to get our 9th win. I mean, it's something that it's not ultimately what we wanted. We wanted win every one of them, but especially with how the things went, just to see our guys never give up. Win the last 5, it's a special group of young men, and some of those guys in that locker room just played their last game at Doak Campbell Stadium, and it's what a memorable way to be able to go out, and a lot of those guys will help build and set the foundation for where we're going, because this is just the beginning, and it's exciting to watch this team compete. It's exciting to watch them believe, but there's a lot of areas that we're going to continue to improve in, and I'm just so excited for what the future holds here.
First question will be Ira to you, right?
I'm sure it would have been more fun to win by 30 or 40 points, but how gratifying was it with some of the guys you had on the field there in the fourth quarter on defense, and to have so many different guys contribute?
Yeah, I mean, our depth got tested, and guys that were very limited, even throughout the course of this week, in practice, that in crucial moments were out there because it's kind of what we had. And they just games like that, that's where your heart, your character, your identity has to show up. And our guys battled, man. That's who they are, though. That's what this is not an easy place to come play college football because of the standard that we have. And we push, we challenge, we want our guys to go above and beyond in all things, so that when those moments show up, that you're going to be you can go out there and execute and get the job done. And that's where. These guys, they've embraced that, and they've embraced it throughout the course of the season. They've embraced it over the last few years, and it was really special. That's how that game needs to have those type of swings, and it's what makes this rivalry a special one, and it's definitely feels good coming out that one score ahead.
We'll stay on that side for Corey.
When you talk about response, does that kind of personify? Johnny Wilson had a couple struggles in that game with making that catch down the sideline, and then Jarquez McCullion getting called for the PI, and then coming and having a really big pass breakup at the end there.
I mean, that's what it's all about, and that's the picture. And Johnny was said it was probably not one of his best nights, but you know, the moment of truth when we absolutely needed it, he rose up, and you know, I just, you know, he's been battling. Last week was very limited in anything you do. This week he was limited you know, in practice as well. And, you know, but you see when we needed a play, he made a play. You know, Pack was another guy. I mean, Pack barely even practiced this week, and you know, he was dealing with issue coming out of last week's game, and to be able to respond after the PI penalty, you know, not to hang his head, but to continue to play, to be able to help finish it there at the end was huge.
Next will be Brendan, top left.
You mentioned Jordan's game in housing. Can you go in depth about just how gutsy this was for him, the way he found, the way he made plays?
Oh, he battled. I mean, it was everything. And you know, there were times that, you know, he had to extend plays, and you know, some of the things that he did out of there on that football field were just truly special. And to be able to take a negative and make it into a positive, I mean, you know, I thought he located the ball really well throughout the course of the night. You know, but you just see his leadership, you see his confidence. I mean, there's nothing that's moving too fast for him, and he's able to control himself and go out there and play at an elite level. And you know, he broke the rock tonight, and it was you know, a lot of guys that, you know, did some great things, but man, he was special.
We'll come down a little bit for Matt.
Yeah, Mike, you talked about how important this win was for you guys as a program as a whole for the 3 years you've been here. How big has this season been for you, and how does it feel to cap it off with this win?
Well, I mean, it's about that continued growth, and you know, we want to show it's a football team and football program that's building, and that's you know, obviously going in the right direction. I don't know how many people at the beginning of the year, you know what their thoughts of this team was, but I knew who I had in that locker room, and I knew the heart, I knew the work. I watched them throughout the off season. Being able to help them understand what they can do and what they can accomplish, these experiences are just going to set us up for our future and where we're going. But it was big. We needed to see those positive steps, and you know, those players in that locker room, they are confident, and they're confident because of the work that they've invested, and also the experiences that they've had. And so it was big for the program to get back to, you know, where, you know, we're now in the national conversation. You know, to be able to be ranked, to be able to play well, to be able to put together you know, consistent weeks of playing at a high level, and then, you know, even in challenging moments where maybe you are not playing your best throughout the course of the game, you're able to overcome that because of the response. And it's a 365-day process, and we are all in on that. And a lot of areas we're going to continue to get better. I'm so excited about you know, bowl season and an opportunity to get back on the practice field to help some of these young you know, players that we have continue to grow, to be with some of the older players and have them continue to grow, because the future is bright here, and you know, because of the commitment that these young men are making, and I'm just so proud of them.
I'm gonna come down the road, Hassan.
Yeah, you know, the atmosphere from kickoff was, you know, crazy good. But, you know, at the end of the game, you guys, the fans storming the field, you know, how big was that, and what was that like, you know, when you saw them coming down?
It was like, I didn't actually see them coming down, you just felt them all there. So it was pretty wild. But no, we got an incredible fan base, and you know, I love it. I mean, it's such a special place to play college football, to coach college football, to, you know, it's because it's about the people. It truly is, and you know, who we represent, what we stand for, you know, just that's what makes Florida State special. And you can't, people can say that wherever, but until you're here, until you get to live it, until you get to be around it, man, it's remarkable. And when you feel that energy, and yes, today the atmosphere was unreal, but I mean, you felt that you feel the energy every single day when you're in town, just around this place, and that's just, like I said, grateful for the opportunity, and it was definitely a celebration that was well deserved, and you know, celebration that was needed. And you know, I'm happy for our fan base that they got a chance to experience that, and just some of the steps we've taken this year.
We'll go to Kurt in the middle.
Kind of from halftime, coming out of halftime, I guess, what was the message to the defense? I know Florida had kind of moved the ball, not at will, but quite frequently in the first half. And what was the adjustments, and I guess the message to them?
Well, there's, you know, coming out early, and you know, no matter how much you try to coach it and to emphasize it. We were emotional coming into this game, and there was a lot of excitement. Everybody wants to do well. There's not one player that desires to make a mistake. But we had some mistakes that showed up early, and so one was communication. Another just alignment, and with all the right intentions, but not being able to maintain that focus in that moment. And and that's where we just got them into halftime. I called them up before every halftime, and for as many mistakes as were made in the first half, take a deep breath. Right, we're down 3. Let's go play our ball. Let's clean up the mistakes. I thought Adam and defensive staff did a really nice job changing up a handful of looks and trying to keep their offense off balance. And it was well executed, and the players did they went out and they were able to calm down and they went out and played at a high level. They're coming out at halftime.
We're gonna go top right corner to Austin.
Hey, Coach, did ask you about Trey Benson yet? Had a huge game. How big was he? Not only this game, but down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean he's been wonderful, and you see the confidence, you see the toughness. He's such an explosive back. He just battles, and with each carry that he gets, he's coming into his own, and you just when you get to know the young man, I mean he's just one you want to root for too. I mean that running back room. I mean Trayshawn Ward. I mean Lawrence. I mean Rodney Hill. We've talked about CJ. I mean all those guys. I mean they are. It's one of the closest rooms that we have, and just the way they support each other, the way they encourage each other, and to see Trey and going out there and having the success he's having. I mean it's what we expected when he came here, but it's so rewarding to see the path of the journey that he's had to take, and to see him have that type of success.
We'll come to Alex here.
Hey Coach, you mentioned it a minute ago, but just getting this program back to a bowl game. I mean, how important is that for this team, for the growth that you guys have been working towards, and just to get them back on a national stage, like you mentioned?
Yeah, no, I mean it means everything, because it's about continued development, and when you have those practices, when you have another spotlight and a stage to be able to go and compete, I mean it's big, and when we get to go compete to try to get our 10th win, that's very important for us. And these guys, you take them one at a time, but we can talk about it now because we've done things necessary to we got one more step, and we'll give them a couple days off here this weekend, but we're gonna be back on the practice field here this next week, and that's part of it. And I can promise you, I know those guys in there, they're gonna embrace that, and because that's what they've done. Whether we've had a good game or a bad game, they've embraced the work. And when everybody talks about it, it's another thing to show up and do it. And this team, I mean, they're willing to push, and I'm excited to get to compete with them one more time for this season and this team.
We're gonna stay right here in the middle.
Coach, so much of this season has been about watching this team grow, but likewise, there's been opportunities for the coaching staff to grow as well. Just what about coaching this team has made you and the coaching staff better at their jobs over the course of the season?
I mean, you constantly, we have the same expectations of ourselves that we have of the players. It is the growth. It is making sure that we're everything we're asking them to do, and times of making ourselves uncomfortable, right? Trying to do the right things and put our guys in the right situations, to take the accountability of sometimes things that we do well and things like we don't do so well, and being able to have that ownership and to be honest with your players, and to be able to develop trust. I said the very first day that I got here, I told the players I'm never going to ask them to trust me. Right? All I ask for is an opportunity to prove that I'm trustworthy, and you have to do that through actions, and they have to see it, and it can't be one day here and the next day there. You have to be able to go through that process with them, and I think that as a coaching staff, we continue to understand the identity of this team and try to put them in the best position to be successful. And even with some good plays and good games, and some bad plays and bad games that we've had, you see an offense, defense, and special teams that are among the best in the country. And I'm really proud of the coaching staff and the work that they've done. But it all goes to the players for their belief in that throughout the journey.
We've got time for 2 more. We'll come over to Hassan.
Hey Coach, you mentioned the response from the team. that was the first time since the first quarter against Georgia Tech you were down, the first time you were down at halftime since Clemson. So, just the response from the team. Talk about that. Just to be able to bounce back from being facing adversity for the first time in a little while.
Well, I mean, it's one of the things we talked about, in our last team meeting before we came to the stadium is that, the response that defines who you are. And it's not always going to go. I told the team that I can't tell them exactly what this is going to look like, but there will be a moment where you got to rise up. And it's been that way through success, but it's also, it showed up tonight in some disappointing plays where we had to just continue to believe and go back to the communication, and go back to the fundamentals, and go out there and play the way that we were capable of. And for it to come down to one drive, one possession, it's pretty special for this game, but it's also special for the players because they can, and they got it's a wonderful group, and just that response is critical.
All right, last one will be Ira.
That's two.
2 for 1, Ira.
So, what was it like seeing their faces in the locker room? And then also, what kind of response have you been getting from recruits and prospects over the last month?
No, I mean, that's usually guys why you do it. I mean, it's when you see the joy, when you see the excitement, because I know the work, I know the investment, I know the challenges. I mean, there's times I'm really hard on these guys, and there's probably times they don't always understand the why, but they see it. They see it then. They see what they can do, what they can overcome, and then you see the joy that they get to express, because it's not just about the individual. We got great individual players here, right? But it's who they get to do it with. That's what makes the journey worth it. And I'm just honored to be a part of this group. I'm honored to be able to try to give everything that I have for them to have that type of success. So it's really special. And when it comes to recruiting, I mean, it's remarkable. Tonight we had a great group of young men that can really be special difference makers for this program, and a lot of them that are committed, and some that we're continuing to work on. And as we sit there and we go through the journey, it's still about finding the best fit for Florida State, and we've stayed true to that throughout this since I've got here. And you see how that's carried over to where you have a football team that plays together, and great talent, great ability, but it's also great heart, and they care about who they represent. They care about this university, and we're going to continue to work to build that by bringing in the next right fit to be a part of this family as we're moving forward.
All right, thank you, Coach.